Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and welcome to a new episode of StarCraft II Study. I actually had a bunch of people asking me if I could make some more StarCraft II Study episodes, because there's still a lot of people out there that are struggling with build orders, and of course StarCraft II is an evolving game, so that means build orders and strategies and everything changes all the freaking time. So let's hop straight into the game and let's take a look at a standard Zerg versus Zerg build order that pretty much 90% of the Zerg players seem to be doing right now. But specifically, I copied this one from EGIdrA, and he used this build order to actually beat some really outstanding Zerg players such as Roro and whatnot. So I want to thank you guys all for watching this, and let's hop straight into the game. So here we are in the actual game. This is going to be a game between none other than EGIdrA spawning as the green Zerg in the bottom left corner of Daybreak LE. And his opponent for this game is going to be none other than Roro, which we already talked about earlier. But in this game we are going to watch it completely through the vision of EGIdrA. So of course Zerg vs Zerg is a matchup that's really hard because both players can make the same unit. Now this may sound really obvious, but you have to keep in mind that to counter, for example, roaches, you probably need some roaches yourself as well. So we are going to go into all of that, but first of all we are going to take a look at the exact build order that EGIdrA uses in this matchup. So let's speed up the game a little bit. Of course he's going to go for a 9 Overlord, just because 9 Overlord is the most effective Overlord, and he's probably going to open up with either a hatch tree or a spawning pool first. Now let's talk a little bit about that. In Zerg vs Zerg there's 3 options you can do. You can either open up by a spawning pool first, you can open up with a hatch tree first, or you can open up with a gas first. Now gas first is something that we saw way back in the day, which was like beta times and maybe a few months after release. But nowadays, you don't really see any, more gas first openings for Zerg vs Zerg. And why this is because the gas first always gave you an advantage early on if your opponent didn't go for gas first, because it means that your Zerglings will have speed earlier. What you would see most of the time is actually people going for a gas geyser, followed up by a spawning pool, then instantly going into Zergling speed right away. So nowadays you don't see that anymore because people realized that you can actually defend any kind of early speedling pressure by going for a pool first, and by even going for a hatchery first as well, just because of the queens that you have out earlier, as well as a few Zerglings that you have out early, and the extra gas investment and the extra loss in economy early on is simply not worth it at all. So nowadays we only really see hatchery first and we see spawning pool first. Those are the 2 options that you can go for. So it's only 2 options really. Both go down at 15 supply. So if you decide to go for a spawning pool first, or if you decide to go for a hatchery first, in either way you should throw it down at 15 supply. So let's take a look at this game when IdrA actually decides to take it. I believe actually in this game IdrA decides to go for a hatchery first. Now in general the build order doesn't change all that much. I believe the actual math on it is that when you go for a hatchery first compared to going for a spawning pool first, you will have about 1 or 2 larvae extra because of the queen injects that come out a little bit earlier, because you can go for double queen. But in general this makes no difference whatsoever. I would advise you, if you're not I would say Master League, if you are below Master League, simply always open up with a spawning pool followed up by a hatchery, because it will just keep you so much safer, and it will just be a lot easier to defend any kind of early aggression by your opponent if your opponent goes for an early pool. Simply because you don't have to micro as hard, because you can make some Zerglings early on. But in general, you want to go for a 15 hatchery or a 15 spawning pool, followed up by a 15 spawning pool or a 15 hatchery. So both buildings go down at 15 supply. So that means in this case IdrA goes for a spawning pool or a hatchery at 15. He makes 1 drone and starts a spawning pool at 15 supply once again. Now the next important thing to note is the gas timing. Now gas timings, there are a few different options that you can take. You can either take it once your spawning pool is starting up. However, IdrA takes it at 17 supply. So he gets this hatchery up once again, 15 supply hatchery, 15 supply spawning pool, 17 supply extractor. Now it is important to note in this game that he is scouting with his first Overlord across the map, and he sees that his opponent is going for a hatchery first himself, which instantly means this is going to work out as a pretty standard game. Of course, there can be some aggression from Roro, but normally you don't really see that because IdrA will be able to respond for that in time, because this map is pretty big. But the only real important thing to note right now is that he scouts the hatchery that goes down for Roro. So at this point, he's simply just going to just make more and more drones. He doesn't really need any Zerglings right now. I know a lot of Zerg players will actually start a bunch of Zerglings as soon as the spawning pool finishes. Well, honestly, you don't really need to do that because you know exactly what your opponent is doing anyway, so you don't need that. So what do? You start double queen as soon as you can. There we go. And you just drone up and drone up and drone up. Also important to note is that you don't take any drones off gas at all. You just leave those on. I know there was a lot of trickery going on a few months ago by people actually pulling drones off gas after mining 100 and then going into speed and whatnot, but nowadays you don't see that anymore. So you just go for a gas, guys, or leave the drones in there, unless you go for something cheesy like a lot of Zerglings, but in general you don't want to be doing that, so you just leave them on there. Now, the first 100 gas, since IdrA went for a relatively early gas geyser, he's going to spend his first 100 gas in Zergling speed. So here we go, he should start it, there we go. First Zergling speed is going down already, and he's just going to use the inject, and he's just going to make more and more drones, not making any Zerglings whatsoever. So using injects on both queens actually. And right now, he's actually going to spend his next 50 gas that he's mining from the drones that are still in the gas geyser by going for a baneling nest. So there we go, the baneling nest is going down at the next 50 gas. Let's actually slow down the game a little bit. And he's also going to start a spine crawler. Now this spine crawler is completely optional. I believe he's actually going to go for a spine crawler. Yeah, there we go. The spine crawler is going down. So this spine crawler right here is completely optional. If you plan on going for a really aggressive build order early on and making a lot of Zerglings, obviously you're not going to need that spine crawler early on at all. But in Zerg vs Zerg in general, you want to make as many drones as you can get away with. So what IdrA does, just to be safe and just to be safe versus like aggression from his opponent, he actually goes for Zergling speed. He goes for a baneling nest, and once he goes for a baneling nest, he also starts a spine crawler. Now, because this baneling nest is on the way, he also has to make a few Zerglings right now. There you can actually see 2 Zerglings on the production tab that he can morph into banelings. Once again, it is important to note for the Overlord position right now. The Overlord is at this choke right now, and what this means is that this Overlord will scout any kind of Zergling that will come by this path right here. And there's another Overlord right here at the bottom that will be able to scout any kind of Zerglings that come by right now. So if his opponent decides to get aggressive, he can simply just see everything that is incoming with this one Overlord that is at his opponent's ramp. And he can morph banelings with the 2 Zerglings that he is making right now. So, of course, at this point he can't really scout at all because he doesn't know what his opponent is up to. But he knows he will be 100% safe, even if his opponent goes for like some crazy aggression, by simply having the Overlord right there. So there we go, the first Zerglings are already out, and right now the baneling nest is just on the way. There's really nothing going on right now. What will he do next? Well, he's actually just going to wait for the spawning or for the baneling nest to finish, and right now he's going to start a 3rd queen. There we go. He actually started a little bit before finishing the baneling nest. He also starts double gas geyser right now in his natural when the baneling nest finishes, and he's also going to start a lair, and once he starts the lair, he starts an evolution chamber. So let's sum it up once more. He goes for a 15 hatchery or a 15 pool, then he follows up by the other building that he needs to build, so either a pool or a hatchery. Then he follows it up by the 17 gas geyser, puts drones on there and never gets them off. He actually starts double queening, and once he has 100 gas he spends it on Zergling speed. Once he has 50 gas he spends it on a baneling nest. While he is getting a baneling nest he also starts a spine crawler right here. He makes 2 Zerglings to morph into banelings, and once the baneling nest finishes is the next big point to keep in mind. So you start double gas, you start a lair, you start a 3rd queen, and you start an evolution chamber. So that's a lot of things to keep in mind, but it all makes sense once you actually start practicing it. So here we go. Baneling nest is about to be finished. There we go, double gas going down. 3rd queen is already on the way, and I imagine a lair going down any moment right now. Come on, lair. There we go, lair going down. So once he gets the lair, let's actually wait for that. He also gets an evolution chamber out. There we go, evolution chamber going down. Now, it is still important to note that you always have to take a look at the minimap in Zerg vs Zerg especially. You need to know what is going on at this one Overlord right here that is hanging above his little ramp right here. So you need to always know, like, you need to always every few seconds you need to watch the minimap and just see what is coming for you. If there's nothing coming, great. If there is something coming, morph a few banelings. You can also just blindly morph a few banelings just in case, because, well, they will be useful anyway, even in the later part of the game, but IdrA isn't doing something like that. He might actually morph a few of them right now, but oh well. So let's take a look. Right now, he's actually going to just wait a little bit, and he's going to start a Roach Warren relatively quickly. So, the important timing to note for a Roach Warren is this timing, right here, right after starting the lair upgrade. Now, why do you get this like this? Well, getting the Roach Warren just a little bit after starting the lair will actually make those two buildings finish at the exact same time. And what this means is that you will be able to start the Roach Speed upgrade at the exact time when the lair finishes. So the lair and the Roach Warren finish at the same time, you start lair at the exact point. Or you start Roach Speed at the exact same point. And the other thing that he also does is actually... Come on. Start the Evolution Chamber. Come on, Evolution Chamber. So the Evolution Chamber is just going to build, but once this Evolution Chamber finishes, he's actually just going to start the +1 range upgrade. And once he starts that +1 range upgrade, a little bit before that, he also starts the 4th gas guy. So now the important to note, once again, is that he keeps watching this minimap and that he doesn't make any more Zerglings than necessary. All that he has at this point, if you take a look at the unit tab right now, is 37 drones and 2 Zerglings. That's all. He didn't make anything else, just 2 Zerglings. So the next important timing to note is just that he makes more drones. Just making more and more of them dronies. There you see more drones going down. Or actually, there we see more drones going down. Going to start the +1 range upgrade for the roaches. And he's also going to saturate his 3rd gas geyser as soon as he can. Or this 4th gas geyser rather. And as you can see, the lair is about to be finished. The Roach Warren is about to be finished. And what he's going to do once the lair finishes is... start the Roach Speed upgrade. Come on. Roach Speed. And an Infestation Pit. So, all in all, a pretty damn easy build order, I gotta be honest. Oh, another important thing to note is that once his lair finishes, right after, he's also going to start a 3rd base. So here we go, he's actually going to send a drone right there, if I'm not mistaken. And actually going to use this one to start a 3rd base. However, right now, he's going to start a lot of production. Since he knows that his opponent is going for a 3rd base right now, and since he has an Overseer scouting everything right now and he sees the Spire, he knows that he can put up a lot of aggression because of this. Now this gets really game specific and I wouldn't really focus on this too much. If you find yourself in the exact same position as IdrA is in right now, you might be able to do this, but if you are not, I simply would just macro out of this another way by maybe droning up the 3rd base, but you can also just play standard from here on out. So up until this point, the build order will be the same in pretty much every single game. So let's go back let's actually just show you what IdrA is going to do in this game. He's actually going to start the Infestation Pit, as you see, and he's going to start a lot of roaches right now. So he's just going to morph a bunch of them, keeping the ejects up, having the 3rd base start already, well, going to defend against that, of course, because he doesn't want to lose it. But here we go, he's going to start the roach production. And in this game, IdrA actually makes sure that his +1 upgrade and his roach speed upgrade line up perfectly. So he's going to put up a lot of aggression with those roaches that he is creating right now. And he's going to, meanwhile, while attacking with those roaches, he's going to drone up his 3rd base and start taking a lot of infestors. But this gets really game specific, so we really shouldn't be focusing on that too much. However, let's go through this game really quickly once again to have a good look at the solid build order that IdrA uses. That will be good in pretty much every single situation. So here we go. Let's cruise through this replay at ×4 speed, or actually ×8 right now. So there we go. He's going to start a 9 Overlord, because that is a standard build order. He's going to go for a 15 hatchery. Come on. Come on, Mr. Drone. Come on, Mr. Drone. There we go. 15 hatchery. He's going to follow it up by a 15 spawning pool. Gonna follow it up with a 17 gas geyser. There we go. And he's now just going to make another Overlord at 17 supply. And he's just going to drone up and actually scouting with this 1 Overlord. So right now, he sees that there's standard play by his opponent. He's going to start queens. And he's going to make more and more drones. With the first 100 gas that he gets right now, he actually starts the Zergling speed upgrade, and he just keeps the injects up for both his queens. At 100 or at 50 gas, so after getting the Zergling speed, he starts the Baneling Nest, and he also starts a Spine Crawler. Right now, he's just going to be droning up. He's going to make 2 Zerglings just in case of any kind of aggression for his opponent, which we will be able to morph into Banelings. And once this Baneling Nest finishes, he starts the 3rd queen. He starts +3, or he starts the 3rd and the 4th gas geyser, and he also starts a lair. Right after starting the lair, he starts an evolution chamber, and he starts saturating those gases as soon as he can. So there we go. He also starts the Roach Warren just after starting the lair upgrade, and he's starting the 4th gas geyser while starting the Roach Warren. And once the lair finishes, he's going to start a Roach speed upgrade, as well as an infestation pit, as well as a 3rd base relatively early on. So that's just the solid build order in general. At this point you can move out of it by going for a lot of roaches, you can go for a lot of infestors, you can go for all kinds of stuff. But up until this point, up until the 8-minute mark, you should have a really solid plan for going into the game. So I want to thank you guys all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode of StarCraft II Study. Yeah, I hope you guys have an awesome day. If you actually watch this on Christmas Day, Merry Christmas to all of you. And I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you again